Todd Downing on a lie detector machine, and he truly was like, I didn't adjust because I didn't know. Worse. That's worse. If you didn't see these basic metrics. Welcome into the Hot Read podcast for Friday, June the 23rd. I'm your host, Easton Freeze, Director of Published Content here at BroadwaySportsMedia.com. We're also brought to you by the 440 Podcast Network. You can follow me on Twitter at Easton Freeze. And I'm joined today, as always, by producer JT, who you can follow on Twitter at JT_Runke. JT, how we doing, man?
What's up, gamers? How are we today on this beautiful Friday? I'm good, you know?
End of the week, feeling good, right?
It is. I'm feeling so good today.
We're going to talk a little bit of sports today, as always. Not super long. We're not going to, this show does, and by this show, I really mean me, has a reputation for time management issues in terms of length. I tend to go over on time all the time, but I'm really going to try to not ramble too much this summer when there's not, don't force it. If there's 30 minutes of stuff worth talking about, we'll talk for 30 minutes. We got 2 shows a week. We got a couple weeks to burn, but other than that, we're going to be fine. And I'm not going to just ramble and try to get an hour into each show. We're just going to talk about what there is to talk about today and then get out of here. And there's not a ton, but there are 2 or 3 topics that I think are really interesting, JT, that we're going to dive into. Before we do, you and I went and saw a movie last night. I figured we'd mention it. We both kind of went in with no expectations. We saw The Flash last night.
Well, I don't know if no expectations.
I went in with no expectations. I went in
saying this is going to be a bad
hater.
Movie.
You are. Yeah. First ballot Hall of Fame hater, as you are with all things. You went in, of course, expecting bad. And then halfway through the movie, you're like, it's not bad. Which I agreed. I found it really fun. I thought it was worth seeing in the theater. I thought there were some really cool moments visually. It was way funnier than I expected it to be. That was really the biggest surprise. Funny. I didn't think it'd be funny.
As bad of a dude Ezra Miller is, he's funny. He was funny.
And he's perfect for that role. It's such a bummer as a person. He's not really made himself eligible to reprise that role going forward.
Yeah.
I wish that he was just a normal dude and wasn't that way, because he's really perfect in that role. And it was fun. I thought it'd be weird with this Supergirl actor who I'd never seen in anything before, and bringing back geriatric Batman, but it worked. I enjoyed it. So I think people should go see it. It's certainly not the best movie in theaters right now. And you and I were talking about how we can't wait. This summer feels like kind of a little Hollywood Renaissance action after COVID. This is the first summer post COVID. And yet there's only been 3 or 4 now. That I'm like, yeah, there are a number of movies. We can't wait to see Asteroid City, which comes out.
I'm super excited tonight.
Actually. We're recording on Thursday. Tonight it comes out. And then Oppenheimer is going to be great. We genuinely, unironically want to see the Barbie movie. Think it looks really funny.
Yeah, I really want to see the Barbie movie. And then I'm just like some people are Star Wars kids and some people are Marvel kids and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. I am an Indiana Jones kid through and through. Mm-hmm, so this Indiana Jones movie could be absolutely awful, and I will think it's a 10 out of 10.
You're one of the few folks that really enjoys Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, right? You enjoyed the 4th.
Yeah, I put on four pairs of rose tinted glasses for any Indiana Jones media. I do not care.
Unlike the Flash, where you went in this is going to be a bad movie. With new Indiana Jones products, you go in it can't be bad. No matter what happens, it cannot be bad. What else is there? Mission Impossible, always a fun time.
Yes.
There are some real stinkers out there. Teenage Kraken, we saw the commercial for last night.
I don't know. I'm not going to see it.
No. Elemental is apparently really bad.
Yeah, it's bombing at the box office right now.
Dude, Disney they did Inside Out and then Soul and now Elemental. And to me, they're all the same movie. They're all basically the same film. When was the last time?
Honestly, pretty fair.
Moana and Coco was the last time for me that I was I like what they're doing. This is original. This is fresh.
I like Luca. Luca.
I never saw Luca.
Ooh,
It was
you need to see Luca. It's
okay,
like
why was it
top
such a
5.
small deal when it came out? Because like nobody talked about it.
Because it was actually good. Like it was
Okay,
just like
all right,
it
all
was
right.
like a return to form. Like Pixar was like, is it Pixar? It definitely is Pixar.
The
But like
line is blurred.
it
Disney,
also
Pixar,
it
I don't
also
know.
came out like right off the heels of COVID, like when movie theaters were starting to get
Oh,
back up.
that's
So I
right.
feel
It was
like
one
a
of
lot
those
of
that was on Disney Plus. You could go see it in the
yeah,
theaters, but nobody really did. Yeah.
yeah.
What's the other one? The super mega huge one that was also Spanish themed. The We Don't Talk About Bruno movie.
Oh, Encanto, but that's not Pixar. That's
Encanto.
Disney animation. That's Disney animation.
Okay.
It's like kind of like a
I
different, but like
lump them all
they're
in
both
together because
they're both
they've
Disney
all been bad
properties.
lately.
Yeah.
Right. They've all been bad lately. And I never saw Encanto. Did you see Encanto?
I did. Like I was just bored one
Was
day
it
at
fine?
like 3 p.m. on like a Sunday, and I was like, whatever. It was whatever.
Was it okay?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was fine.
just nothing to write home about. Yeah, all right. Well, that's your film review for the day. Let's talk. I would be remiss on a sports show without bringing up a little baseball. Mets currently 6 games under 500. The Braves currently, I believe, 21 games over 500. Oh, just kidding. They just won today, so that make that 22 games over 500 for the Braves. Your 4th place Mets in the NL East. What say you, JT? No comment at this time.
Here comes that first round pick for the draft. You know, here we go. I guess. Do
you tear it down? If you're the GM, are you in tear it down mode at this point, or you just trust the process?
You're obviously going to sell things. Like they're going to be sellers, but I mean, there's a couple kids that you want to keep. I think there's a couple prospects who have been called up that are probably going to go. I think you're going to sell a bunch of your DH bats. Like Tommy Pham is on fire. He'll be on the trading block. He'll be gone for sure. He's on fire. Danny Burgers. He'll probably be gone.
Yeah.
I've heard rumblings that Pete Alonso is on the block, and if they did that, I would call 911. I need help. Like strap me to a
don't leave this man unattended. Yeah, don't leave him unattended. He needs supervision.
I mean, there's not a lot on this roster that you can really sell off without like going. And I just like, but I mean, like, there's a lot of teams like the Mets right now who have a lot of star players who are just underperforming. The Cardinals are even worse than the Mets, who were a playoff team last year. The San Diego Padres, who went all in on
Padres, Dodgers,
who got Xander Bogaerts. They suck. Like like the Dodgers are in 3rd place behind a pretty like not exciting Giants team and a really young Diamondbacks team. Like there's a lot of teams who like from last year, the Yankees without Aaron Judge. Like I'll give a shout out to Goody who on Twitter, who sends me after every series.
Your number one hater. Just harassment at this point. I think you have a legal case against this man if you want a restraining order.
I do, but he did say, like, I'm only doing this because the Yankees are just as bad without Aaron Judge. And I'm like, that's probably fair. But, you know, I have to say I'm not going to bandwagon them, but hometown Cincinnati Reds, they are on fire. They are shaping up to be a team of destiny this year.
Just switch that hat out, baby. Just switch out that hat.
I won't ever be a Reds fan. I just want to say good for them. I like Joey Votto. Okay. I've always liked Joey Votto.
Sure. He's likable. Well, the only way I can tie this into what our show actually covers, because we've now done 10 minutes of everything but Titans discussion and NFL discussion, is that The Athletic ran a poll this week. They asked a bunch of major league players where they think the best location for an expansion MLB team would be. And the overwhelming majority said it was Nashville, the best potential expansion city, according to an undisclosed number of major league current baseball players. 69% of them, said that Nashville would be the best place to put a new franchise. And then a precipitous drop off. Montreal at 10%, Charlotte 5%, Austin 5%, Portland 4%, Vancouver 2%, Salt Lake 2%. So the overwhelming majority of folks were not only on the Nashville train here, but they were also objectively correct, because Nashville would be the best place to put a baseball team. I don't anticipate, like, I've not been, my heart has been like, yes, let's do it. Excited. Can't wait. Bring MLB to Nashville. My brain has this entire time in the past 4 or 5 years that people have been talking about baseball in Nashville and, you know, the Nashville Stars thing that went on for a couple of years. my brain has said it's probably not happening anytime soon. I'll be kind of surprised just based on like, is there an appetite to build a major league park in Nashville after we're already seeing people not super jazzed about building the new Titan Stadium? And, Geodis Park was just built. The Sound's got a new building within the past decade. I just don't know if Bridgestone isn't getting any younger and is going to, like, you're going to have to address that in the next decade, you'd imagine.
I mean, where are you going to put it?
Yeah. Maybe you go full Braves and just put it in Brentwood. Just like, Franklin, build a major league park in Franklin.
Yeah, as if the traffic to out there is already not bad enough.
It's already spectacular. Yeah. 100%. Maybe we put it way out, like Murfreesboro. Just put it an hour out of town.
We put it in Bowling Green.
Put it in Manchester, Tennessee. So Manchester, 3 things: farming, Bonnaroo, Major League Baseball. I mean, if that's not America right there, I don't know what is. That's America, and I think that Manchester should be the face of American culture here in Tennessee. Okay, let's talk about football. And along the lines of football, JT, we have a very fun announcement today. Very cool.
We do. Yeah.
I wouldn't say a soft announcement or a soft launch. Like, this is a thing you can do now. But obviously, this is a quieter time of the year for betting. But as you're maybe getting your bankroll in order, getting set up, if you're a big NFL bettor like we are here on the show, or
you can
next
just bet against
season,
the Mets if you want to make some money.
Or just for the heck of it, as you're buying your time until the NFL markets start kicking up, just bet against the Mets at all possible avenues. We have here at the Hot Read Podcast partnered with ZenSports, which we're super excited about. We've been in discussion with them for 2 or 3 weeks now, and we are excited to today announce that we have a referral code with ZenSports, code HOTPOD, HOTPOD, easy peasy to remember. Code HOTPOD gets you a lot of things. What exactly does that get you, JT? Because people are wondering, like, as a new sports book, we're both bettors. We get it. Feels like there's a new sports book in town every other week. Feels like there's a new sports book being shilled by the content that I consume every other week. And it's like, I don't know, like, I've got the book or books that I use. I'm comfortable. Why should I switch? Why should I trust this new book? All fair questions, and all questions that you and I were asking ourselves when ZenSports reached out to us about a month ago. We've done a lot of vetting. I've spent about 2 hours in personal discussion with the folks over at ZenSports. I met, I'd say, at least half of the team at a meeting a week or 2 ago, and got to speak with them about their process, their product, what they're about. And so just some details for folks that might be interested. And if you are into betting, I promise this is not something worth skipping over. You're going to find this interesting. So what ZenSports does that's different, and one of the reasons why JT and I find it interesting enough to go into business with, is that they are not about the funny money bonus bets, right? Every book under the sun, JT, as you and I and anyone that's ever bet is well aware, it is bonus bets left and right, referral bets, first-time user bets, special parlays. They give you these funny money bonuses. Sign up with us. We will match up to $500 your first deposit and free bets back. But anyone that knows, anyone that has tried this, right, they know that it's not real money, right? It's free bets. It's like going to Chuck E. Cheese. You're not cashing out those Chucky tokens, bro. D&B's isn't giving you straight cold cash for your D&B points on that card. You're cashing it in for some goofy prize on the wall, right? You can't actually get that money back. With ZenSports, it's the opposite, right? With ZenSports, they don't do the funny money free bets. They do percentages of your bankroll, percentages of your betting volume in straight, hard, cold cash in your pocket whenever you bet. And you don't have to win the bets. You just have to make the bets. So you earn up to an unlimited 5% cash back welcome bonus with ZenSports when you sign up with our code HOTPOD, and you earn 3% cash back rewards on your betting volume every month after that. For the first 6 months, for forever, 3% cash back every single month. Again, on your betting volume. So that's not the amount of money you win betting. It's the amount of money you bet. You can spend a month and bet $1,000 and lose $1,000 in an all-time bad beat. And you're getting 3% of that back in cash that is withdrawable today. And that's what's so cool about ZenSports. But you don't get that 5% welcome bonus unless you use our code HOTPOD. Here's a little bit of how it works. And we're going to have some of the folks at ZenSports on later in the summer to explain it in more detail. But this is really interesting to me, JT, and I think that our listeners will find it interesting as well. All you have to do is go to ZenSports. They've got an app. It's a sports book that is exclusively here in Tennessee, by the way. So they are the real deal here in Tennessee. They care about you as a Tennessean bettor. They are invested in not just you, but only you here in Tennessee. You make a deposit on ZenSports, which is an app on the App Store, Android, Google Play, Apple, all the different places you can get your apps. You can get the ZenSports app, download it, make a free account, deposit into that account, and begin betting during your first 15 days from the date you sign up for an account. ZenSports will give you a welcome bonus in cash equal to 5% of your betting volume with no maximum if you use a referral code. So if you use our code HOTPOD and you're a high roller, there is no amount of money you can spend with Zen Sportsbook and not get that 5% cash back no matter the outcome of your bet. After 15 days, Zen Sports will automatically credit your account balance in Zen Sports with the welcome bonus cash back. No need for you to take any further action or do anything at all. There are no restrictions on how you use the welcome bonus once it's credited to your account. You can bet with the cash back. You can hold on to your cash back for a rainy day, or you can withdraw those funds immediately and have that cash in your digital wallet at your disposal. So super cool product. We think that they are doing an awesome job over at Zen Sports. Go do us a favor, download the app, use code HOTPOD when you sign up. And with that referral code, you're going to get cash back immediately, 5% for your first 15 days as a welcome bonus. Super excited about our partnership with Zen Sports. Looking forward to things in the future. Might do some more partnering with them when we get the best bet gauntlet back up and firing on all cylinders as we try desperately to somehow overcome an incredible 58% year last year. Reminder for those that they're like, why should I take these two dudes seriously betting? In a sample size of over 200 bets last NFL season, the Hot Read podcast is proud to remind you that we went an astonishing 58% over 200 bets, which ask any professional bettor is pretty impossible to do. And we did it over a large sample size. It was no fluke. So we're looking to reprise that performance this year as best we possibly can, get over that 53% even money mark and make some folks some money again. And we're going to do that with Zen Sports. Again, code HOTPOD when you sign up with the referral code to get unlimited 5% cash back in your pocket. I think it's super cool, JT. I can't wait to play around with the book, with the lines. I'm not personally betting on a ton of stuff right now, but I know as we get deeper into the MLB season, and of course we get to the NFL season, in about a month or so, we start looking at futures. We start looking at player props, season-long props. We start looking at award props, first coach to be fired, always a great one. That kind of stuff is going to be on my radar soon, and I'm going to be looking at Zen Sportsbook to do it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. They have a lot of cool stuff to offer. Super excited, especially like you said, with the best bet gauntlet coming back. If you think, oh, we're due for a sophomore slump here, actually,
no, my friend.
Last year was our sophomore year since we did this a year before doing it on the podcast. This is our third year, so no sophomore slump.
Right. We're like Trevor Lawrence. It's like first year was kind of off the record. We don't remember that. It was literally not on the record. Second year, the improvement there, and we're expecting a third year. I mean, even bigger breakout season. So
yeah, and like even on my end, it was a little down year for me, and we still did 58%. So I'm coming back red hot.
When we're making people money hand over fist in September, do not say we did not warn you to get on the train right now. HOTPOD, code HOTPOD over at Zen Sportsbook. All right, let's talk football. We've got a couple of topics, JT, which if you would be so kind as to kind of navigate us through here. Warren Sharp put out a thread that you and I found very interesting this week. Many folks in Titan circles found interesting, and it wasn't actually any new information. It was all stuff that we had talked about at length like 6 months ago, but frankly, it deserves rehashing.
Yeah. So Warren Sharp put out a tweet earlier this week, and I'll just read it here verbatim because I thought it was it brings up doing the Windhorse fingers. It brings up an interesting conspiracy here. He goes on to say, I spend a lot of time objectively researching every team each offseason, looking for the good and bad as open-minded as possible. But one thing I will never be talked off of is my belief that Todd Downing was a double agent trying to make life difficult for the Titans offense. He goes on to say, on first downs, Tennessee had the second highest run rate, despite D's stacking the box at the fourth highest rate. Unsurprisingly, the runs ranked fourth worst in efficiency, but nothing stopped them from running into loaded boxes, not even the fact that first down passes ranked third in efficiency. So even though they were really good on passing on first
early downs, right?
They didn't do it.
Pass. They said pass. We're good. There
is no reason a team that sits where the Titans sit on this graphic should be running the ball at the second highest rate in the NFL. Absolutely no reason. Which is why I bring up that this is kind of a conspiracy. Did Todd Downing
truly working for the opponent? Is that the
was he? As soon as he read the tea leaves and knew that he was out of here by the end of the season, was he working against it? Which is surprising, even though anybody who reads that, I'm surprised he has a job. To be frank with you, and
right, he wasn't unemployed for long. He's the passing game coordinator for the New York Jets for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to coordinate that passing game.
And as much as hype as the Jets get, maybe I shouldn't be as high on them if they're bringing in Keith Carter and Todd Downing this offseason. So
there's some red flags in terms
quite
of personnel
interesting.
there. Yeah,
but you bring up this graphic
on
YouTube,
here. Right? Yeah, I wanted to talk about this graphic. So it visualizes, for those of you that are tuning in on YouTube, and if you're not, go over to Broadway Sports Media on YouTube. You'll find the video version of this podcast, which is the best way to view this podcast because we do a lot of hard work with the visuals. This is the chart from that thread from Warren Sharp, and it shows just how good Tennessee was in terms of efficiency on early down passing and just how aggressively bad they were on early down running. And the Titans did not care. They were kind of in a quadrant of their own here. There's not really anybody near them in terms of their efficiency and inefficiency in these two metrics.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the other teams that are even close around them. Like the closest two teams around them are the Buccaneers, who are a little bit worse on rushes, which makes sense. And the next team closest to them is the Washington Commanders. So like you're not in great company here. And like the closest
team that had Bucs teams. I mean that Bucs team last year, everyone knows how it was like Tom Brady passing for his life because there was no run game, because whenever they tried to run, it was a disaster because the offensive line was a problem. And right.
The first 6 weeks I had Leonard Fournette on my team, and I was just begging for him to just keep getting those, like he just kept dinking and dunking it off to Leonard Fournette. And that's how I was able to ship off Leonard Fournette at the deadline.
Well, you can see on this chart, this was kind of eye-opening to me. Like the Titans last year in terms of efficiency were literally just the Buccaneers, but more Buccaneers-y, like worse, which is astonishing. There was nobody near them to be that great in terms of efficiency with passing on first down, as opposed to your first or second down. I think this is just first down, but I know that this trend applies to all early downs. So first and second down, they were very high in terms of their efficiency passing, very low in terms of their efficiency running. And we know this about the Titans, right? It's been the Derrick Henry special for as long as he has been the Derrick Henry that we all know and love. This has been the case. Defenses force the Titans. Essentially, the whiteboard game plan going into Titans week is, okay, make somebody other than Derrick Henry beat us. And of course, that's been a very good game plan. That's been the way you should be doing it because of what this Titans team has been like. And last year was really, and it's been the last 2 years, both Todd Downing offenses were this way, but last year was the real egregious, I think, straw that clearly broke the camel's back because Todd Downing lost his job over not just this. And there's some other things that he did on and off the field, but this kind of thing is a big reason why not only was he poor in this area, but JT, what bothers me more, when people make mistakes or are wrong about something like this, it's frustrating. But what's infuriating to me, far, far, far worse than being wrong, is being wrong for, 2 consecutive seasons, having this data publicly available to coaching staffs, as well as the media, as well as any Joe Blow with an internet connection, seeing this, and it's impossible for you. Like if you put Todd Downing on a lie detector machine and he truly was like, I didn't adjust because I didn't know. Worse. That's worse. If you didn't see these basic metrics, come across your table, if there was no intern at the Titans headquarters sliding this graph in front of you at some point in the last 2 years, it's an even worse look. But to know of this information, which I think that they had access to, I know they had access to, and I think they were aware of, and to not care, to double down, to be boneheaded and so insistent on your way or the highway when it comes to early down pass versus run, is quite literally a fireable offense. And it is a perfect to not do list for Tim Kelly. He should have on his to-do list for his first year as a coordinator in Tennessee this circled in red marker and highlighted. Do not ignore the efficiency numbers on early downs like the Titans have done for the last 2 years. We also, I think there's some more numbers here from Warren Sharp that are worth bearing. He says that their first down runs did almost nothing but force them into third downs at the highest rate of being forced into third down after a first down run in the NFL, which is a convoluted way of saying they did what they did, continuing to run against stacked boxes at a super inefficient clip. And shockingly, and this is a crazy cause and effect moment here, they were super inefficient and it forced them at a historically high rate into third down situations that were not very advantageous to them. And they repeated it over and over and over, according to Sharp. There was nothing the Titans needed to do to establish a stacked box on first downs. They were not a team in search of stacked boxes in a game, enforcing the run, establishing that run in order to get stacked boxes, in order to then exploit over the top in the passing game. Oh, no. They had stacked boxes out of the gate. Like, that was baked in to what they were going to see each week. They knew it. Their opponents knew it. And yet they still acted like they were trying to establish that run for some odd reason. Here are the numbers. On first downs, they faced 95% stacked boxes if less than 3 receivers were on the field. So 9.5 times out of 10, if there were 3 or fewer receivers on the field and they weren't clearly in spread formation, it was a stacked box every single time for the Titans on first downs. 90% of that time, they saw a stacked box in the first quarter, and 84% of the time, they saw a stacked box if Derrick Henry was just simply on the field. If he was one of the 11 offensive players in two-tone blue on the field, it was a stacked box. No questions asked. No further context needed. 2 questions that are born of this, JT, because again, we've known this. We've talked about it for months now, but it's worth rehashing, and I want to talk about it in terms of what it means for the Titans going forward. The first question is this. The thing that this brings me back to mentally as somebody that's been on the beat for the Titans is hearing constantly from folks in the media and from Todd Downing himself that his kind of philosophy in terms of managing down and distance, managing a drive, how he wants to go about his offense's march down the field, he would constantly say his end game, his goal was want to get to third and short. Want to get to third and short. We do whatever we can do to get to third and short. We want to avoid third and longs, which on the most shallow possible level sounds right. Like, yeah, oh, cool. Yeah, third and short, better than third and long. Much more manageable. You can usually get a first down. The problem with that is that you are completely and utterly painting yourself into a corner that you don't have. You're forcing yourself into this corner. Nobody's forcing you to do this. Other teams in the league, they aren't trying to get to third down. They are on every down trying to get to first down. So on first down, trying to get to first down. Second down, trying to get to first down. Third down, definitely trying to get to first down. But for Todd Downing, seemingly on first and second down, his number one goal was forget the marker down there 10 yards down the field. We're not aiming for that. We're aiming to get as close to that as possible and have as short a third down as possible. It is unbelievably stupid. It doesn't even really bear breaking down because there's no counter argument. Like, it's just objectively bad process. But the first question is, I just said we can't answer the question, but I'm still going to try. Why do we think Todd Downing was so insistent on this? Do we think it was something that was a personal belief of his, something to do with the way that he likes to operate his bespoke offense? Do we think that that's like a cultural thing with the Titans? Do we think that there's an element of Mike Vrabel influence in that at all? And do we think that Tim Kelly is going to bring a different approach to the table?
I think it's tough. Like that question, it's tough to answer right now because we don't really know what this offense is going to look like. But once you get a sample size of Tim Kelly, I think it becomes a lot more clear, and you can kind of then go through like the puzzle pieces and put it together. You're never going to you're never going to like be able to like kind of understand what was going on in that room. I feel like the closest we ever got was like at the combine.
JT, we knew in September last year. Remember, we were reliably informed that Tim Kelly was calling all the good plays and Todd Downing was calling all the bad plays. Yes. That's what we were told all season, right? So they should just be good plays this year. That's how that works.
It should be, but like we really like the closest we ever got to information on what was going on inside there was at the combine, where Tim Kelly was like, yeah, I'm helping out the tight ends most of the week, and then going in there and advising.
Well, and also him telling us that a big part of his responsibility was, hey, I handle the early down passing, which again was the third best in terms of efficiency in the league. They just never did it.
So I think we'll get a substantial sample size and then be able to truly like unravel the mystery that is Todd Downing hates passing. And which is really ironic because he's now the passing game coordinator of the New York Jets. So, like,
for Aaron Rodgers,
it's tough to say. Like that's a question we can talk about all summer, but like we won't know until we see.
Have I completely mixed? Are we sure he's the passing game coordinator? Or is he the run game coordinator? Because now I'm totally questioning. Hang on, you keep going.
This is the information that you're feeding me at this point, because I really don't.
He's a something game coordinator, and for some reason, in my head, maybe passing game sounded better. I'm about
the Jets get talked about enough in the media that I just really tune them out. So like I've not paid attention to them whatsoever. It's like
Todd Downing's also like the 20th most interesting addition to that team this year. And that's being generous between all the Packers teammates and I feel like the Packers brought in, or the Jets brought in all Packers and then Keith Carter. And sorry, passing game coordinator. Okay, I'm right. It's so unbelievable that I had to check. But yes, he truly is going to be the one telling Aaron Rodgers when and where.
The Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett is the dynamic duo.
Man. That
dynamic duo of Nate Hackett and Todd Downing.
If you're a Jets fan, you just have to hope that the two chaotic evils cancel each other out to create like lawful good. Like that's the only way that works, because on their own, each is a nightmare. A lot of people don't trust Aaron Rodgers' judgment, but between those three, as a Jets fan, you have to be desperately hoping. I hope Aaron Rodgers just makes his own decisions and does not listen to those two. Please don't listen to them, no matter what you say.
Maybe Rodgers has both of them on that ayahuasca, and so now they've reached Zen,
expanded their mind.
They've expanded their minds, and now
the fluoride in the water. The government keeping us down.
They now see in their third eye how to actually run an offense.
Oh, this June is so goofy, man. All right, yeah. Here's the second question, and we'll move on. Looking back on the past 2 years and knowing what we know about the efficiencies and inefficiencies of this offense and what was allowed to happen week in and week out, frankly, the biggest thing we continue to come back to is not that they were bad at certain things, but that they saw how bad they were at certain things, and they didn't seem interested in making the necessary adjustments to fix those things. They just were content to continue banging their head into the wall, the defining insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over and hoping for a different result. Do we think that Mike Vrabel deserves some of, or part of, or all of, or none of the blame for those efficiencies and inefficiencies the past 2 years? What in retrospect does he deserve? And then going forward, is it the same amount of what is his accountability now that he has fired Todd Downing? He's brought in there were searches for, we talked about the couple of KC guys and Eric Bieniemy and the former
Matt Nagy.
Thank you. The former Bears coach, potentially being coordinator options for the Titans. They go with their guy from the inside, right? Tim Kelly was the guy that Vrabel wanted to hire originally when he ended up having to hire Downing because Kelly was working with the Texans and they blocked that interview. We've rehashed all of that before. Does it change his responsibility for this offense going forward in your eyes? So kind of a two-parter. We can first try to dissect that first part of, in retrospect, how much of it do we blame Mike Vrabel for?
I don't really want to blame anyone, just because like I feel like
it's nobody's fault.
It's nobody's fault except Todd Downing. Like, I don't want to put any blame. I feel like it maybe is like the culture of the Tennessee Titans. Like, firing people was like mid-season was like for early Vrabel era has like not been their jam until Amy Adams Strunk just kind of pulled the plug on John Robinson. And then I think we kind of, it was kind of like a shift in ideology of I think that's maybe where you start to see it, because before that, I mean, we talked about it all last season. Like, the Titans are just like, no matter how bad he's going to be, no matter how bad or what trouble the team has with guys like Todd Downing or the struggles with the offensive line butting heads with Keith Carter, they're not going to fire someone during the season, like a coach like that. That was our thought. And then it was a huge surprise when John Robinson was just shown the door mid-season, like pretty like mid to like mid-late into season. He was shown the door. And it's just like, that was kind of something that everyone thought was a surprise. So I think you're seeing kind of a new era, and I don't want to say it's Mike Vrabel's fault, but like, I think the culture that he's built kind of did not allow him to make the moves necessary to get them back on track last year. It kind of maybe, you wouldn't make him look like a hypocrite, but it'd be like you're changing your mind every other week, you know?
That's where I am. For me, it is much less blaming him for what exactly went on and the decisions that were made. Again, that's primarily Todd Downing, in my opinion. But it is holding him accountable for, hey, there were a number of things that people were very loudly and very clearly calling for, like, why this seems like a quick and easy fix. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we changing this? Why, the offensive line, Dennis Daly, real problem. Maybe we tried anybody else? Like, can we get some thoughts on that? And it just didn't happen week in and week out. Not only did we not see a change, but we also they kind of just refused to give us clear answers on that, right? The media would ask, and it would just be we're going about the process the best we can. Coach speak this, coach speak that. We're trying to put the best players in the game in the best circumstances possible, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I blame him for, is not making changes when he could have. But in the season last year, I did say his philosophy is clearly that of, I don't want to make sweeping personnel changes in terms of coaching staff, that is, in season. Like, I want the guys that are in place, the systems that are in place, to have continuity to them. And even if something is a disaster, like Todd Downing was at the back half of the season, at this point, we're just going to ride it out, and we will reassess and reevaluate and change things in the offseason. He's now had his chance to do that. Many argued he waited too long, but it is now done. So the timing of that is null and void at this point. Going forward, I think the fair thing to question him about, to hold him accountable for, is, hey, you've made these changes. You've had this offseason to, and he has put together a very bespoke coaching staff that has pretty much changes across the board. I mean, there are very few position group coaches or coordinator positions that have gone unchanged. It's at least half of them. And because of that, there's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of things changing. And the result of that we see this year and going forward is going to be squarely on his shoulders, in my opinion, which, as the head coach, that's how it goes, right? I think that there is a bigger responsibility attributed to him now than the past 2 years. I think that people kind of clearly see this as, this is the team in Mike Vrabel's image. It is make or break for him. This is kind of one of those nexus moments. So I think we agree there, and we can talk about, we have two more much smaller topics to get into. So we can move forward with that.
Yeah, let's move away a little. Well, it's kind of football, but not really football. Kind of.
Well, the concern is that it may become football.
Yeah. So there was a tweet earlier today. Was it today or yesterday? One of the two, by Joe Pompliano, who said, breaking, the Qatar Investment Authority is buying a minority stake in Monumental Sports and Entertainment, the parent company of the Washington Wizards and Capitals. That makes them the first sovereign wealth fund to invest in a major U.S. sports team. And so the talk around this was like, hey, would they maybe ever find their way into the NFL market?
Right. I mean, the Saudis continue to inch their way into American sports. This is the first time, like you mentioned, that they are now legally, financially entangled in a major American sport. I guess we don't consider. They previously weren't involved with the PGA Tour. Now they looks like they will soon be, but they now have their tendrils in the PGA Tour, obviously the Live Tour, now with the NHL and the NBA. Many are wondering and questioning and worried about, will those tendrils start to reach into NFL pockets? Will the NFL start to become entangled in what is a tricky and murky and very gray area conversation surrounding geopolitics and sports washing and human rights violations and financial obligations and all of these things that like go far beyond sports and we're not really interested in talking about on here. Everyone kind of agrees that sports washing is a pretty blatant bad faith thing to do, and it's what is being done. Like, let's improve our reputation by becoming involved in things people love. Like, you aren't slick, like we see you. That being said, I personally, and maybe if you disagree, feel free to voice your opinion, JT. I still refuse to believe that the elite inner circle of NFL ownership would ever allow Saudi buy-in to the NFL, even at a minority stake level. I just think that there's a brother/sisterhood element to the NFL ownership where I'll believe it when I see it. I think that they're far too insular and proud a group to allow the Saudis even a foot in the door like that. And I think that there will be a number of people at the top of that list, the Maras, Jerry Jones, the people that you look at as the primary vocal leaders of that inner circle of NFL ownership. They're going to be staunchly opposed to that kind of thing. The NFL, I think, is, from a political standpoint, much less inclined to get involved in that kind of thing. It's probably the most insular Americana sport of the major sports. Arguably, it's the NFL and MLB, right? I think the NFL, just the culture of the owners, is not going to allow them to want to have anything to do with that situation. Do you kind of agree, or do you think that it's just money speed? Because the counter argument is ultimately they're business folks and they care about money. That's the number one thing. So maybe they just take the money. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if there was a couple groups that had maybe some smaller market NFL teams that may find their way into inking a deal like that. My opinion is that I probably don't have an opinion right now. I think we're in the first early steps of this becoming a bigger thing within the sports world. Of course, you had Live and the PGA merger, which was a huge thing last week. I know that's something that you had a lot to say about.
Yep.
And now it's like, now we're seeing the first kind of steps into the four major sports. Now, the Washington Wizards, I don't know if you can call them really a sports team.
Are we sure
right
that
now.
counts?
Are we sure that counts?
Sport?
Like,
yeah, I don't know. That's a fair point.
I don't know, but like I probably will form more of an opinion on this as I see more of it unfold, for sure.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Just something to be aware of. This is obviously, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel of the most dead time.
It's worth mentioning. Add to your calendar.
We have some key NFL dates that have been kind of set in stone now, and will be things to watch for as we go about this season.
Yeah, so roster cut down, 53-man roster. It's different this year. It's not the step down process where you go from 90 to 85 to 67 or whatever it was. It is now, I think the new CBA rule indicates that you have up to 90 players on your roster throughout camp until August 29th at 4 Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Time. All rosters must be cut down. to 53 players. That'll be a big day for us and for all content creation. See who does and doesn't make the active roster. NFL trade deadline, October 31st. Super duper spooky edition of the trade deadline this year. Very Halloween-y content going to be going on for a 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Halloween trade deadline in the NFL. And then the 2024 free agency legal tampering period opens on March 11th at noon Eastern, 11 Central. Finally, the 2024 NFL draft, April 25th to the 27th in the Motor City. MCDC and the Motor City Kitty is going to be hosting from Detroit this year, which should be a fun one. I think that's a cool opportunity for a city that has had some ups and downs, and I think that they're experiencing maybe a slight upturn, and so a cool event for them. And with that, we're done today. We are all done. We'll be back on Monday talking about something else. I don't know. We're eventually going to have a number of guests from around the AFC South to do an AFC South roundup. Got a couple of other ideas that we have shelved that will break out at some point in the coming weeks. But thanks so much for everybody that's sticking with us through the summer. Of course, we get into July, and then we will start to ramp up, and things will go from 0 to 100 really quick in the NFL world. But until then, we'll continue to just hang out, be as entertaining as possible every Monday and Friday morning. So check in with wherever you get the podcast to make sure you don't miss any episodes. Final reminder on this episode, but obviously we'll be bringing it up a lot in the future. Our code over at ZenSports, Sportsbook, code HOTPOD is the referral code you need to go sign up with. It's when you sign up, it's impossible to miss. Where do I put the code in? You just go through the sign up process. You'll know when you're there. It's very obvious. Do you have a referral code? Yes, you do. HOTPOD, code HOTPOD over at Zen Sportsbook to get unlimited 5% cashback welcome bonus in your first 15 days, which can be a big chunk of money. And again, unlike free bets back that are funny money, there's nothing contingent on winning your bet. It is truly just how much do you deposit and then put down on bets. That is what you get cash back, 5% in your first 15 days and then 3% forever from there with our referral code HOTPOD. So check it out. Until Monday morning when JT and I will be back with a new topic. I'm your host, Easton Freeze, for producer JT. This has been the Hot Read Podcast. Everybody enjoy your June weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday.